and welcome back to the Alabama Way. Normally when people get into trouble with the law, sometimes it's kind of difficult for them to get a new start and find employment, but things are changing because of the Dannon Project. And joining me today is Mr. Terrence Armistead. Good morning, Mr. Armistead.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm great, thank you. Now, you're with the Dannon Project,
Yes.
and for a lot of our viewers who may not be familiar with the phenomenal program, give us some history on how it got started and how you all help offenders get back in society.
Okay. Just as a disclaimer, the Dannon Project has nothing to do with yogurt. Everybody always asks us that immediately. But the Dannon name came from one of our local news celebrities whose name is J.J. Pruitt. His brother's name was Dannon. He was killed by a guy who had just been recently released from prison. What was ironic about the whole situation is that J.J. actually knew the guy who had killed his brother. It was a freak accident. The guy shot in the air, the bullet ricocheted and hit Dannon. Carrie, our executive director who started the Dannon Project, had never met Dannon before, but she saw the family dealing with the grief and thought that it might be a great way to help the family move through the process by starting the Dannon Project and to do something in his memory.
Right.
So we've been started for about 13, 14 years. We are the #1 re-entry organization in the country and have been for quite some time, totally funded by Department of Labor. So all of our services are free to the ex-offenders once they are released from prison.
So do you all have a partnership with the prison system that when someone is about to be released that they come to you for job skills, or how do people find out about your services?
Well, up until this past year, the way it used to work is that anyone that would want to get involved in our program, we had to get involved with them within 6 months upon their release. Now it's changed where the Department of Labor has rewritten a grant where we're actually going into the prison systems. So I'm in the prisons 2, 3, 4 days a week, in the work releases all over the state of Alabama. And what we're doing is we're doing more of a pre-release approach. So not trying to get them once they get out, but going into the prisons, teaching them all kind of life skills, financial literacy. They're getting computer work right there in the prison. And we're trying to get as much done before the release so that they can transition into a smooth environment once they are released.
So with this process, has the success been better than what you all were doing before?
Well, the success was really good in the beginning, and I think that it kind of they kind of help each other a lot, because it gives us an opportunity to really go inside of the prisons and see what it's like and to really hear the stories of people. And then it gives other inmates an opportunity to see people who are getting ready to leave, and they want to know how they're transitioning once they've gotten out, because everybody wants to know that the program is beneficial and worth going into before they sign up and enroll themselves.
Right. So outside of financial literacy, what are some of the other skills that the Dannon Project teaches?
Well, what we do is we try to take a holistic approach. We teach financial literacy, restorative justice. We provide mentoring. We provide, there's a plethora of things that we offer, and a lot of times it's based on what we call our TAP, Treatment Accountability Plan. So we ask this participant, what do you need? What are you going to need once you are released? Are you going to need some ID restoration? Are you going to need a birth certificate? Are you going to need a social security card? And what we do is we provide those things for that person. 90% of what we try to do is to help that person become the most employable person that they can be, because we know that most people go back based on the fact of not being able to get a job.
Wow. So your success rate, let's talk about that.
Okay. As far as the success rate is concerned, when we look at all the statistics across Alabama, the recidivism rate is anywhere between 50 to 65%. Right now, I think at last we checked, our recidivism rate where people go back is less than 8%.
So that's excellent.
Exceptional. And a lot of people really don't understand recidivism rate, and what recidivism means. Is a big word, but it's really not all that fancy. Just basically the amount of people who go back to prison versus the one who come out and stay out and never go back.
Right.
And so what they're saying is that, out of 100 people, 50 to 65 of them go back. I mean, it's kind of amazing to be released from prison and be given $10 in a bus card and told to go ahead and go on with your life. Well, we've noticed that a lot of people, their families have disowned them. They've separated themselves. They really can't go back into that environment where they were before, because if they do, they're at a higher chance of recidivating again. And so we try to provide every opportunity to keep that from happening. And by taking this holistic approach, we've been able to do that quite successfully.
So do you all provide housing for them also?
We don't provide housing, but we do make housing referrals, because all of that is a part of everything that we try to do. Like I said, we take a look at that TAP, that treatment accountability plan, the specific questions that go into much detail. I mean, a lot of people, when they get out, they look at our application and say, man, that's a lot of stuff to fill out. Well, our main point is we want to know as much about you as we can, so that we can help you in any way that we can. We also have had people who've been incarcerated for over 20 years, 25 years, some 27 years, who have become model people in our organization that come back and also speak to people. Some of the times these people, when they're released, they kind of look at us, some of us who've never been to prison, like we really don't understand, have never gone through what they've gone through. So it's always good to bring in somebody who has dealt with that situation, who knows it from the inside out, and then they can use both of our knowledges to kind of be able to persevere to when they were released.
So for some of the, what's the correct word? Clients? Do you call them clients?
We call them participants.
Participants.
Yep.
What, from their perspective, what are some of the key things that they learn from you all that maybe they say, I wish I would have known before I committed this incident that got me into trouble?
Well, one of the classes, which I teach, one of the mentoring classes, is we talk about a slide or a process that happens when crime starts. And we also teach that in restorative justice too. And so one of the classes that I kind of teach and mentor is getting out, stay out. So once you get out, how are you going to stay out? And how to back into the whole process of what got you here this time, so that it doesn't happen again. And so it's kind of a dialogue back and forth as to asking questions like, tell me about you and what happened. Tell me about you and what made you think that you weren't going to get caught. Tell me everything that precipitated this event that you possibly can think of, so that we can figure out a way how to keep you from back into the system again. And most of the time they're very open once you kind of let them know that you really care and that you're concerned about what they're going through. And once that takes place, you see a total and dramatic change in the lives of everybody that's involved.
So would you say one of the key components is unemployment or underemployment, or is it mainly environment or wrong place, wrong time?
I think it's both and, all three. Most of the time when people are unemployed, they're unemployed because of lack of education. So we even provide free community GED classes on every Tuesday and Wednesday night from 5 to 7, because it's very hard to get a job that's going to pay the amount of money that you're making. I mean, it's a strange conversation when you're talking to young people that are being released that have sold drugs their whole life, and then you're trying to get them to come back and get a job making $8 to $10 an hour. It doesn't compute. The math doesn't compute. And so most of the time what we do is when we're doing resume building, because we help write resumes, like what are the things that you learned from doing some of the things that you did, and changing those words around and helping the light to come on so they can actually see that you do have some qualities. You do have some things. And most of these people go on to be entrepreneurs. They go on to, because I mean, if you can count money, you can count money.
Well, that is definitely true.
Yeah, so most of them become entrepreneurs. They own their own businesses, from lawn care to the barbers, everything. So we just want to grow them as much as we possibly can. I mean, our whole philosophy behind what we do is one mission, one life at a time. And so we want everybody to know and understand that they're special to us, and we're just not doing this to get a check, but we really mean what we do and what we say.
So with some of the job placement, what type of careers, or not necessarily naming companies, but what type of occupations are you all successful with placing some of your participants? Okay.
Well, most of, we have some that are basically involved with construction work, because what we've done is we partner with people who already understand that these people have a background. So what that does is that gets a foot in the door for the participants, so that they don't have to go in struggling with trying to explain that little box on the application that says, do you have a felony on your record? So that already gives them a boost of confidence before they even enter the workforce. So there already are people who are out there who are willing to teach skills, everything from forklift driving to construction work to maintenance to factory care, everything that you could ever possibly want. That's where we take that information from the treatment accountability plan to find out what it is that you want to do, not what will it be that will help you get a check.
Right.
Because if we can help you figure out what it is that you really want to do, then you'll do it with all your heart, and then you'll do it not necessarily about how much it's paying you, but you'll do it because you enjoy doing it.
Awesome. We're going to take a quick break, Terrence, but when we come back, we want to talk about one of your youth programs, because you have some phenomenal programs for our youth, and I guess if we can catch them early, then we don't have to worry about them later on in life.
All right, thank you.
Okay, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back.